Get you a chloroplast. So I know that your picture is a little small, but let's do our best just to try and label the main parts of this chloroplast. So I always try to come up with some way to help you all remember different things. And so for this one, I like to compare a chloroplast to a platter of pancakes. Okay, so here's what we have. First, we have the pancakes. So inside of a chloroplast, you see stacks of these little disc-shaped structures. And what they are called thylakoids. So the thylakoid itself is the location of the chlorophyll, and you can see that it's green. So the first part of photosynthesis, called the light dependent part, the part that uses energy from the sun to split water into oxygen and some hydrogen and some electrons. It also uses energy from the sun to excite some electrons to kind of boost them up to a higher energy level. All of that occurs in the membrane of these thylakoids. And the membrane is just like any membrane. It's a double membrane of phospholipids. And then you have these proteins that are involved with this process. They're called photosystems, and they contain the chlorophyll itself. So the thylakoids, if you want to think about it in terms of being a platter of pancakes, if you eat a lot of pancakes, I guess even green ones, then it'll go to your thighs. That's what we say. And it goes to my thighs. So it's pronounced thylakoid. Okay, the other thing is how the thylakoids are arranged. They're arranged in stacks. And a stack of thylakoids is called a granum. If we're talking about all of these stacks, if I'm talking about multiple stacks, I would call it grana. So just change it from singular to plural, from um to a. So maybe your granny makes you a stack of pancakes. And then the last major part is the stroma. It's the syrup. It's kind of like the cytoplasm inside of the chloroplast. This stroma surrounds all of the thylakoids and is actually the location of the second stage of photosynthesis, called the light independent reactions. It's also known as the Calvin cycle, named after the scientist who discovered this process, Melvin Calvin. He was an American. And in this part, the energy that was harvested, or some of the energy that was harvested during the first stage that occurs during the daytime with the sunlight and the thylakoids, is used to power this second part that occurs out in the stroma where there isn't any chlorophyll, so where the sunlight won't be used. So it relies on the energy that's made from the thylakoids to power this process. And in this process is where you get the materials that you need, or that will be used to make the glucose, to make the sugars. So sunlight and water are used in the thylakoids, and that oxygen is produced. Carbon dioxide is used in this Calvin cycle in the stroma, and what's made here is the glucose.